Hello, welcome to Flower Joos. My name is John McDonald, and today I want to do a simple arrangement using some garden plants and foliage and flowers that we've got in our new garden. And for this I want to use this nice heavy garden pot. Now this is for plants, so it does have a hole in the bottom. So to solve that, I'm just going to use like an old yogurt pot. But you could use any kind of container that will hold some water. Ideally, the more the better. The only thing is that's a little bit loose. So what I'm going to do is just wrap it with a little bit of a tea towel, and that just stops it moving around, which is great. So our mechanic for today is going to be this aluminium wire, and I can just pop that in. It's literally just a scrunched up wire that creates a base for our flower arrangement. And now we just need to add a little bit of water. So we've got our base. Now flower wise, I've got these beautiful alliums. I've got some nice little sweet william, which is really gardeny. Little bit of conifer. I don't know what type of conifer, but it just, to me, it just gives a nice texture. Little bit of mock orange, or the philadelphus. This is absolutely glorious just now. A little bit of Acamellia mollis. We've got some hosta and some beautiful garden roses. Now I don't know the name of these because we've inherited it with the garden, but aren't they just beautiful? And these are really like a shrub rose rather than a hybrid tea. And just as a wee bit of foliage, I've got some forsythia, and this was flowering earlier in the year, but now I'm just going to use it as a foliage. So that's our flowers, and now we can start. So I'm going to clean off any foliage that basically goes under the water, and we'll add our foliage first, just to set a framework for our design. So we're going to try and create like a triangular section really of foliage. But it's nice to be able to use garden materials. And having different materials as well is quite interesting. So that's a little bit foliage. So the great thing about this is it's helping to hide the collar of the container. And I'll just pop a wee bit of that in. That's creating a base for our design, which is brilliant. So now we can really go in any direction. So the most important thing that we've got here is the philadelphus. And we need to decide how we're going to do that. Now this has quite a strong smell actually, which is quite nice. And what I did was I cut these yesterday, put them into deep water, deep cold water, and let them condition overnight. So everything's had a good chance to get hydrated, to have a good drink, and that really makes a big difference when you're using plant material. So we're creating a little bit of a line with this, and we can come in with our alliums. At the moment, the alliums round about here are looking great. They've been really good. And I don't necessarily want to cut them short. It seems a shame if they were cut really short. But what I would like is to have one coming forward and then a bit of height, and then really this one takes your eye through to give the whole arrangement some depth. Now, our roses. These ones are quite thorny, I have to say. But they are just glorious, and they're on like a pergola, a kind of homemade pergola, and they've got a companion with a red version as well, which is just beautiful. Reseed some as well. So really what I'd like with this arrangement is to get quite floral, but also kind of slightly layered, so when you look, you see things within it. It's got some different things going on that would make it more interesting. Actually, that's quite nice. The philadelphus just going down the wrong way, and it just shows a different aspect of that type of flower. So if you do it consciously, then it's really not an issue. And now we can add our beautiful Sweet William. And what I really like about it is it gives us a little bit of a contrast, and a different texture. It really just sings of being like a garden flower. And because we've got some white in there, it ties in with the philadelphus. So, just taking care to make sure that everything is actually in water. We don't want things to not be in the water. And this is the type of arrangement you could really just enjoy making. If it's for yourself, then you don't have to stress about being perfect. You can just enjoy collecting your materials, using your materials, and make it to fit a particular place in your home is also a good idea. Then you can best decide what type of container or what type of angle you want everything to sit at. And I've got a tiny little bit of Camellia mollis, which is just so pretty. I've brought that plant with me, so I'm trying to collect things that will be really useful for flower arranging and gardening, and just for having, which is good. And we can add that just in there. I really don't want to waste anything. There we go. I'm not altogether sure about this top allium because of the stem, so maybe we just need to hide the stem. Yeah, it's fine that it's on the jaunty angle. I think when you see it like this, where you really see the stem, it just looks too strong. Whereas hiding the stem a little bit makes it softer. It's just putting a placement of flower up there rather than your eye going to this straight stem, which is a bit of a problem. Now, I really shouldn't make this mistake where you've got flowers and you just put them in because you've got them. But I think with an arrangement like this, you're really celebrating having a lot of nice produce, a lot of nice material, and it just seems a shame not to really go with that. So actually, let's just change that a little bit. So bringing that rose forward is just bringing a little bit of a variation of colour. I'm still not convinced with this. It might be better down. This, I think, would really much depend on where you're going to put it. Yeah, let's do it. I think that's the thing with flowers and creating something is it's important to step back, make sure that it's working for you and for how you want it to be. So because these are so big, I really don't want them to dominate the whole thing. I'd rather you look and go, it's a mix of flowers and there's some beautiful roses, and you see more than just the alliums. You do see the other flowers as well. So there we go. I think a nice flowery celebration of garden produce, and quite straightforward to do. No problem with putting it together in the sense that we don't need anything fancy. We're just using some wire to hold the flowers, and they're straight into water, which they'll love. So as some of you know, we've actually moved home, and we moved more into town to a bigger place where there's more things. But this also means that we've moved studio. So I'm going to give you a quick tour so you can see where we are. So let me just get the camera. And this is what you've been watching in the video. And excuse my shaky hands. But essentially, this is a room. And we are one floor up with fantastic windows. I'll just go this way a little bit. And that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking towards the camera. So fantastic floor. And then the thing that absolutely sold us on this house is this balcony. And all the birds. So, as you can see, not a bad place for a studio. And it just gives me a space where I can try things out, make some pictures or videos. But really, there's all this nature, which is just amazing. We are beside a main road, but really, you would not know. And this is looking down on that pergola where the roses are. That's my big agave. And it's looking down to our garden. So, that gives you a good idea of where we are, and we hope to see you again soon for another flower juice video. Take care.